Hi, this is Suhail. I am the Chief Information and Digital Officer at Maxlife, and this is Asia Advisors Network. I think if you look at the insurance industry, insurance is a complex product. It is not a transaction which is a one-time transaction like taking a loan, but it is something which is you were going to use for a larger part of your life. The first thing is ability to explain the product simply to the customer, and that's a one big area where digital can help and which is a challenge to solve. I think second is how to create the whole journey frictionless. Today, insurers, end up doing a lot of due diligence on financials of the customer, on his medical history, his records, and before a policy is issued. The third one is that there is a lot of risk assessment which happens. How can you make that risk assessment more driven by AI automation and bring it upfront when a customer is buying the journey? I think the fourth big one is about how do you engage a customer once you have sold him the policy, because unlike banking where you have many reasons to go and interact with a customer on a daily basis, insurance you will only probably have your renewal payment options, which many of time are automated and are on auto debit. So how do you create those engagement model with the customers? Another big area is how do you understand your customer better? Because customer may buy up a policy and may actually at a different point of time in his life. In 10 years, he may have got married, he may have children, his financial needs would change. So how do you engage a customer? How do you know about him so that you can offer him the best advice? Another problem to solve is that how do you reduce the time between when a person feels he needs to be insured and when he's actually insured. If you again look at it, typically a person, once you want to get insured, you used to go find an agent who will help you or a seller. Then he will come with you with various kinds of complicated, documentation. And post that, you will go through a rigorous process. The idea being there, how can you, reduce this time? And then lastly, is that how do you get a different cohort? People, those who are young, who may not today think it is important to get insured, right? How do you help them with the discipline of financial planning so that they can look at long term for their financial planning needs and for their finances and supporting their loved ones. And these are some of the few challenges which today I think we need to solve in this industry. I think one big technology which will have impact on insurance, as is continuing to use more and more of artificial intelligence and machine learning. I think these two things, which will help change the entire way you are onboarding a customer, getting all the checks in the front end. So as the customer finishes his journey, you are able to issue him policy then and there. I think that's one big area where we will continue to see work happening, right? And there is also important is that how will you integrate the ecosystem? Well, this you can't do alone. So therefore, the entire ecosystem integration becomes equally important. For example, can you dip into medical records of the customer based on his consent? Can you dip into the national identification to verify a customer? Can you dip into surrogate financials? In many countries, now you have account aggregator, you have health platforms which gets all information together, financial and health. And how can you integrate them? This is one big area is frictionless onboarding. The other big area is the whole health and wellness thing. I think today insurance is no longer about selling once a policy and forgetting about the customer till the time he pays. I think it's much more about experience of engaging him. Therefore, the whole how do you use a health and wellness ecosystem? How do you use a proposition? How do you engage a customer so that a customer understands the company better, you know more about the customer, and third, the big important part is that how can you also help in the customer's own evolution for his financial planning for a long-term basis. I think that's another big area. A third big area that said is a lot about medical records. Medical today, we are doing tests traditionally, which is through pricking people. As technology become better, as we are, you're using new age imaging. How can you look at a retina of an eye, and you can have a picture of somebody, look at biomarkers based on which you can predict the health of a person. How can you remove picking a person? I think fourth big one is how do you create trust and change the way you are selling. A lot of times, insurance traditionally used to be sold. So you will have an agent or a bank representative coming and pitching to you. You are changing. How you want to be able to discover a proposition for you. For example, you are buying a home and you will buy a life insurance, intertwined as a bundled product. I think that big area will be ecosystem play, how you are part of super apps, you are part of another journeys, financial journeys, so that you can sell better. And lastly is we are seeing a big shift of people moving away from traditionally when we used to say that even online meant people only discovering a product online, but somebody is talking to them on a call center to sell it. Now we are seeing over 20% customers actually want to do end-to-end journey online. And I think this is going to increase. So therefore, how do you make your product simple? How to make your board contemporary? That becomes very important. The most important part is that the data belongs to the customer. Therefore, very early in the journey, it is very imperative that a customer is comfortable and he's given his content for this, right? Otherwise, there is going to be always this issue of customer feeling that his data has been done. And I think today, knowing customer willfully consenting is very important before you use the data. Secondly, most of the data which you use will be anonymized. And you are not actually getting the PI data of a customer. You are running an anonymized data on certain cohorts, and based on it, suggesting the best for the customer. And more and more, this is not data 1:1 data, right? So I think those are 2 or 3 big areas which you work on. And lastly, I think as you engage customer, it's more what a customer wants rather than you always coming and suggesting something for the customer. I think that's also very important. So therefore, I think these are 2 or 3 different ways you can ensure that a customer still owns the data and he is the one who's controlling the access to whom for his data. I think Maxlife's our ambition is to become India's best traditional insurer, but with digital capability, right? And I think there are 4 or 5 big cohorts we are working on. One big area is how can we make sure our products can be discovered by our customers at where they want to discover it and when they want to discover it. And we can tailor make the right products for them and support it through digital journeys. And that's one big area. The second big area is about how can we do frictionless onboarding. Customers where we ask less, deduce more, use ecosystems, have, as I explained to you, less of physical testing, less documentation asked. Today, 70% of our B2C customers, we do not ask a single document. How can you do underwriting by exception and therefore bring all risk upfront and issue policy in a matter of minutes? So the third area is about customer service. How do you build an omni-channel, actually move from customer service to customer engagement and build an omni-channel strategy around customer engagement, go beyond simple transactions, take the leverage health and wellness play to engage with the customer and give them a seamless experience along your products and services. The fourth area is about enterprise, our own employees, how we make them more productive, how we make them get attracted to work for an insurance company, how we make them much more empowered to work efficiently and serve our customers. In terms of horizontals, our one big horizontal supporting all this strategy is security. We understand we have customers that put a trust in them, their money is with us and their data is with us. How do we make sure we run a very secure enterprise so that we protect their financials and their data? I think that is one. Second is our whole strategy is about how do we bring a more elastic infrastructure, move from traditional on-prem infrastructure to cloud on-demand infrastructure. The next one is about how do we become a more organization with pervasive intelligence everywhere in organization, and not just simply asking customers too many questions. Last two big enablers are: one, how do we handle create a pipeline of digital talent, big employer of choice for digital talent, because we can't do all this without the right talent, and change and make our organization culture more digitally enabled, more open for digital changes, innovation. I think that's the horizontal. That's our strategy on digital.